Welcome back to the Joe Mobley Show. I'm Joe Mobley, your host, uncloseted conservative, all of the things. Let's get started. Welcome back to the show, guys. Make sure you join the members only because the members only is going to be super lit tonight. Talking conspiracies and talking a little bit future of the show stuff that we're not going to put out over the regular internet. We got Casey Gates. We got Outspoken Samantha. How are you guys doing?
I'm totally not.
I got introduced first. Love and life, whatever. What's up?
Not typing right now. Guys, I'm excited. You can't experience this because the internet protects you from it. But I will let you guys know. I reek right now. I earned my paycheck today. More so my husband paycheck. Oh man, my Twitter followers have gone down. Constant oscillation there. All right.
I forgot to retweet.
Yeah, smell-o-vision. That's like Wonka. Wonka-vision. It's not television. It's Wonka-vision. All right. If you're watching on X, share the show with your friends. If you're watching on Rumble, thank you. You can also check out the audio-only podcast. Anywhere you're listening to podcasts, make sure you're subscribed and rate and review. Even if you're not going to write something, just give it 5 stars. It really does help grow the show. I am sharing it out on Twitter right now.
You mean X?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dang it. See, Elon just downranked us because I said Twitter. Yeah, so make sure...
Well,
Good.
Elon can actually use that if he wants to. X.com. There you go, bud.
That sounds
for free.
A little creepy. Guys, if you want to get the member-only mug, you want to get the member shirt, go ahead, $5 a month, thejoemoblyshow.com/join. It's on the screen. It's also in the chat. So those are all the things that you can do. Why did Rumble just lock me out? What the crap, Rumble? Let me type in this really obscene, super long password. Are there any psychos out there who, I work with some of these guys and gals who use a random password generator that's like 16, 20 digits, and you actually memorize that ridiculous string? If that's you, funny. You might be a serial killer.
Or autistic.
One of the two.
I bet Elon's got one.
I'm hoping for autistic on this one, just to be completely honest. Elon just downright. All right, there we go. Now I've got the chat on Rumble, so I can see your lovely comments. Okay. Well, let's jump in. I want to tell, for necessity, for the topic that I want to talk about to make sense, it makes sense to tell you guys my testimony when I actually came to the faith. I'm one of those who thinks that your testimony is like, what is God doing now in your life? But my actual first time, because I had the experience as a child in the big black, now I know, was a Pentecostal church, and it was ridiculous and super crazy and scary, and I was like screaming, and I told my parents I'm never stepping foot in a church, not getting married in a church, not getting buried in the church. I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and I was resolute in that, and I did not step foot in a church again until like 2006-ish. So I'm like 16, 17, just getting back into that. But the reason is because there is this couple in Virginia Beach named Chip and Tracy, and they occasionally watch the show. Hi, Chip. Hi, Tracy. And these jokers, my family moves from New York to Virginia Beach. Basically, I get off the moving truck and I meet this kid. He's playing catch by himself. I'm like, oh, I like to play catch. Baseball player. Let's be friends. And this kid, Tyler, he becomes my best friend in the world, best man in my wedding. We're just instant, we've been watching Anne of Green Gables, so I'll say bosom buddies. And he's a Christian, not a Christian. Christian, not a Christian. So every Thursday, like clockwork, this big old Dodge Durango shows up, and they're there to pick up Tyler and or his sister, Jamie, to go to Bible study. Like the longest running house Bible study in the state of Virginia is this Bible study, or it was at the time. And so, hey, Tracy, hey, Chip, whichever one's coming to pick him up. And they'd say, hey, they actually dubbed me with the nickname that went through college, army. Some people still call me Jomo now. I've got sweatshirts and things that have Jomo or Mojo Joe, I can't remember. Anyway, they show up every freaking Thursday. They show up on Sunday mornings to pick them up for church. One time they show up on a Friday, and I'm like, what are you crazies doing here? Like, stop coming. And every Thursday, every Sunday, hey, Jomo, you want to come to Bible study? No. Hey, you want to come to church? No. At this point, they had met my parents. They had gotten me as a kid traveling with them, cleared with my parents. My parents yeah, you just need his permission and he can go. No. And we're not talking about for weeks or months. We're talking about for years, because we moved to Virginia Beach at the end of 4th grade for me. So 5th grade, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and into 11th grade. Twice a week, every week, with rare exception. They're asking, I'm saying no, which is freaking incredible. So when they show up on the Friday, I'm like, all right, why are you here? They're like, hey, the church is doing this event called Stomp. It's like the pots and pans with the music. If you guys are fans of the show, I was a musician. I am a musician. I was a professional musician in a former life. They said, we've got it cleared with your parents. It's going to be down at the beach, and it's going to be a whole thing. So I say, Tracy says, I'm not going to lie to you, there's going to be some preaching. I'm like, okay, it's like an event at the church. It's not like church or sermon. They're probably just going to say some whatever. And in that way that the Bible describes as God, the Spirit, meeting you where you are, how you need to be met, that's what happened. I didn't become a Christian that night, but they pose the big questions. That's what the philosophers call it, the questions that demand an answer. Some of these questions are like, what is the meaning of life? Who am I? What is the meaning of me? What's my purpose? Is there a God? If there is a God, what does that mean? Those are the big questions. The question that they asked, specifically Tracy asked, was essentially, what happens to you when you die? Because someone brought you here and you love that person, and it's Tyler and it's Jamie, and yeah, they're my best friends. Of course I love them. They're based on what we believe, when they die, we believe that you guys will be separated from each other forever. They didn't position it as separation from God because I had no relationship with God. What does that mean? It means nothing. Separation from Jesus, that meant nothing to me. But separation from Tyler forever, I was like, okay, this is a question that demands an answer, and that started the journey. The reason that I wanted to tell you all that, which is like a feel-good story, and it is because I posted, here, let me pull it up. Guys, I suck at Instagram. My Instagram game is so bad. Even though this Instagram post right here went kind of viral, which is nuts for my little account. That was 35 followers, and now it's 78. Anyway, I posted this guy. There's some music. Hooray. But it says hot take. Church, talking about the functional church, the building, the place that you go. Church isn't for evangelism. It's for edifying Christ followers and making disciples. God's people should evangelize, but Sunday morning isn't about attracting newcomers. And just like I thought, I got a lot of, yay, I agree, and I got a lot of freaking heads exploding, and I got some very respectful and graceful dissenters. you know who you are. And if you're one of the crazy people, you probably don't know who you are, but you're crazy, and you need to not go nuts on people's Instagrams and Twitter. Guys,
why not? Let them. Why not? Let them go off. Let them get it off their chest. Maybe they can, maybe if they empty it out on you and get it off their chest, whatever it is that they're
empty
holding
out
back,
on me. Yeah,
maybe
say
you
get
can
it
come
off
back,
their
dude.
chest. Empty out sounds different.
But hey, anybody who is interacting with you, I always take that as an opportunity.
That's true.
Say, hey,
all
what's up?
engagement's good engagement. You're right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is apparently a hot take. I think it's common sense if you read your Bible. But and if you guys disagree in the chat, or Casey or Samantha, that's totally fine. That's the best content of shows are the disagreements. But the reason that the functional church, the place that you go on Sunday, does all of this stuff. They do evangelism. They feed the poor and the hungry and care for the widow. The reason that they do it is because they have to, because you don't do it. You see these things in scripture that you're supposed to do, and you go, I don't want to do that. I want to outsource that. I want to pay for that to happen. I got my own crap to deal with, so I'm going to bankroll someone. That's not my job. That's the church's, that functional church. But the church is you and me. We are the church. We're supposed to be doing those things. The church is edifying, which means here, I wrote it down here, improvement of the mind and understanding, especially by learning. That is what happens on Sunday. That's what's supposed to happen on Sunday morning in a church. Not endless altar calls and 25, 30 minutes of announcements and all of these cool, fun, exciting things. Not for the body of believers, not having anything to do with the Bible, but to attract people in so that functional church looks exciting, looks fun, looks sexy to a non-believer. That's perverse and stupid. Church is supposed to be edifying God's people, teaching us, enhancing our understanding of God's revelation, the Holy Bible, so we can go out and evangelize and make disciples. That's not supposed to be happening at church. And the reason that I know that is because the Bible does not mention it, and because in the early church practice, the church fathers, the unified 1,000-year church, and then all of the Old Testament pre-Christ practice with the Jews in synagogue, they never did that. None of that. You wouldn't go in and they'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to have a barbecue at, Mazel Tov's house or whatever, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and all of these announcements and all of these evangelistic things. So that's my hot take. I think you need to take your Christian diaper off if you're an adult and a believer. You're not a Christian baby with a little bib and a little onesie and a little crib. Like, it's time for you to do faith in action and do something. Not just give your dollar, but actually do something. Get involved in some way. Otherwise, I don't know. I didn't want to make it a salvation issue, but I definitely don't want you on my team. And I don't believe that we are actually on the same team. I believe that you're not just lazy, but you're a coward.
Where's this coming from, though? It sounds like this speech is motivated by something else. What's going on?
I'm still spinning out from the senior week. Last week we talked about the senior week at church, which wasn't just my church. All churches, the graduating seniors were all paraded around, probably across the Western world, maybe around the entire world. Graduating seniors get paraded around the church, and little Johnny and little Emily is going to college here to study this and get indoctrinated by a propagandist that the government, pays to lie to your kids and destroy their faith, and you're going to send a little Christian and a little patriot to school, you're going to get back a communist and be like, how did this happen? And it's like, because you're a freaking idiot and you're a coward, which is why your child cowered down to the professor, and they didn't even have reach back support in dad. So that's where this is coming from, Case.
Well, I'll say you're super passionate, like right off the bat, man. You're fired up today.
Well, can I offer a little bit of input, because I saw this post of yours and I wasn't really sure what you meant, especially, Sunday morning isn't about attracting newcomers, because in my opinion, even if it's the first time at church, if it happens to be a Sunday morning, that's a positive thing. But just listening to you kind of explain a little bit more, I agree at least with what I think that you're saying. And I mean, I'm someone that has gone to church my entire life, every single Sunday. It's something that I am so grateful is a habit for me that I can pass on to my children, and something that I appreciate now that I didn't appreciate as much as a kid, because I wanted it to be more entertaining. I wanted it to have more of those aspects that I was familiar with during the week that kept my mind going. And to me, church was just so boring. But now, just being honest.
That's the experience for a lot of kids.
Yeah,
that's why your parents are like, too bad, so sad, get your butt in here.
Yeah, well, and I mean, as a kid, even if, just as a side note, even if your kids aren't getting a whole lot out of it, out of the sermons or the lessons or the scriptures or the Bible, whatever it is that you're doing, it's, creating those positive habits to create that space that hopefully they will carry into adulthood with them. But something that I have grown to appreciate as an adult is that Sunday is completely different than the rest of the week. It is a time of peace. It's a time of sitting down and hearing just uplifting and edifying messages. And I truly, truly appreciate that it is so different than how the rest of my week looks. And that's what I want. I don't want all of this fanfare and all of these theatrics and all of this excitement in my church service. And I think the crazier the world
You're
gets,
becoming a crotchety old woman.
I am.
Get off my lawn.
You say that like it's a past tense. Like
it's happening to me too. This is terrible.
No, but it's a good thing. And so, I feel like the crazier the world gets, the more important it is to have specifically church spaces that don't reflect the rest of the world, that really do offer that time of peace and that time of reflection and that time when you can sit down and really truly hear things that are uplifting both in word and action, and not just, all of these messages we hear about people pretending to love, pretending to tolerate, pretending to accept, pretending to show compassion, but that at a truly deep level, like, you find out what the true meaning of those things are, and you're able to truly feel them and appreciate them. And the contrast is so different, and it's something that I've truly grown to appreciate. So that's kind of a tangent. That's where my mind was going.
Well, one of the things that I always noticed as well, like going to church and stuff like that, coming from the Jew, but it's a lot of people would show up just to be seen. Like, they weren't there to like,
it's a social club.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a social club, a social status thing.
And it's okay. Now you're just, well, I mean, it's kind of, you're basically just putting on a show for people.
I hate this term, but I'll say it. They're hobnobbing. Is that what Southerners say?
Exactly.
It's just a bunch of people out there hobnobbing.
Yeah, you're rubbing elbows.
Yeah, but ultimately, like, and I mean, we all know people like that, and I don't ever want people to feel like they shouldn't go to church because there are other people there that they don't feel like are sincere about their attendance or about their motivations. Yeah. I mean, we can point to any number of reasons that people show up to church. To me, the most important thing is that they are there. And the most important thing to me is that I am there. And I'm not going to worry about why somebody else is sitting in the bench next to me or in front of me.
Didn't Jesus say that if he had his choice, he would tear every temple brick for brick? Like, he doesn't want there to be a big church. He just wants people to talk amongst yourselves, if you will.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure maybe there's context around that, but I don't think that he meant, don't gather in churches. I think that the purpose for us being there is to gather to hear his word, and the setting isn't as important as the action and the intent. So,
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a
his
big
sermons
fancy
were.
building in a cathedral or whatever. That's not the most important thing.
I don't go to a mega church, but I have to say, for people that hate mega churches, all of Jesus's own sermons were a mega church with thousands of people there. So there's literal, not just biblical reference for it. Jesus did the mega church thing. He also did house church. He also did apostolic. Like, Jesus did a lot of different practices with what church looked like, even though they didn't say that was church. It was people there learning God's word from a teacher of God's word, which is that's what church is.
Yep.
Samantha, when you were talking, Allie Beth Stuckey says this almost every day in her content, that God's word will not return void. And it's just, I love to hear it. But yeah, that's right out of Isaiah 55:11, which is what you're hitting on with, yes, you were bored as a child, and now you're an adult, and you are a faithful follower, and you and your husband, your kids, you're just there. You are getting the word. Just like it says in Isaiah 55:11. I wanted to name our son Elijah, but my wife initially wanted to name him Isaiah, and it landed on Malachi. Anyway, Isaiah 55:11. So my word that proceeds from my mouth will not return to me empty, but it will accomplish what I please, and it will prosper where I send it. That's what you described in that cycle of kids being bored in church, in that train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're older, they will not depart from it type of way. That's what's going. It's like, it's a literal promise of God. So keep those bored kids at church with their butts in seats, learning God's word.
Yep, we go, and it's fine. We survive.
All right,
So I got a question.
Shoot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I'm done with this topic. Other than I guess I did have the point where, so tiny little cherry on top of a rant. If you're the type of person and you've got this list of asks of heaven, I want to DVR these events. I want to meet these heroes of the faith. I want to ask God these questions. The real question is, if you don't get to do any of that, and in heaven is just you and Jesus, and that's it, is that enough? And if it's not, then you got some things to work on in yourself. So that completes my whole biblical rant for the top of the show that I wanted to get to. That's why we skipped the intro. I was just like, I want to get into
Joe's
this.
got something to say. Well, and my thing is, I'm Jewish, okay, but we
Wait, are
went
you
to
Jewish? Or are you Jew-ish?
I'm Jew, and
you know that joke?
also, yes. So I'm not exactly. I'm both the types of Jews,
I'm a little
but I'm not a
Jew-ish.
J.
Yeah. I just
So,
rewatched Seinfeld, if you can't tell.
What is the deal with Joe Mobley? Anyway, it was just one of those things. That was a bad joke. So the whole God thing. My main thing being, the Jewish guy now, and observing multiple religions growing up and all this other stuff. I was thinking to myself just today, it seems like all these different religions are talking about the same guy. Everybody has a different
It
name.
seems that way to people that don't research a lot, but that's not true at all.
But I mean, details. I mean, we can't just come up with like, be good to each other, don't kill, try to be a good person, don't be greedy. I mean, these are all basic fundamental things that it seems all religion supports and tries to adhere to, and yet how many people get killed in the name of God?
A lot less than people in the name of government.
Oh, wow, that's true.
Yeah, hundreds of millions more. The Holy
You know, it's
Wars,
funny.
if you add up all of the religious wars of even the different religions, you still don't even come close to scratching the surface of kingdom building. I almost said enterprise. What's it called? Empire building, conquest. And those
Killing
numbers
for
start
Caesar.
to stack up and stack up and stack up. And then it kind of plateaus. So you got your holy wars, then you got your conquest. But then government overreach is the deadliest thing, because we had holy wars, brought kill count to here. That's the new high, the high score on the Pac-Man machine. Then you've got the monarchs and the emperor doing the conquest thing. Oh man, look how many people they could kill. And then you had Stalin, Lenin, Marx, Mussolini, freaking
And that's
Hitler.
when people start dying really horrible
Yeah.
deaths. Yeah.
Wow,
Starvation.
what Cambodia, Pol Pot. Yeah, that's when you're the holy wars were like child's play compared to the hundreds of millions that communists were gonna kill. Also fascists, socialists, all them guys.
Just
and yeah,
Stalin by himself. My God. Horrible. Yeah, it just.
occurred here.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Sorry,
I
go
personally
ahead.
think we should put a pin in this topic because I do want to talk about like the 5 other things that we have on there.
Yeah,
I got ADD on top of my list right here.
we'll just whoops.
we're all over the place today.
Hello, there's the
It's
button.
okay. That's
All
normal.
right. Well, if you haven't seen, this is the 2025 edition of the National Defense Authorization Act. And what's different about it? Well, they're drafting women. They're proposing that women 18 to 26 years old be automatically included in the what's called the selective service, which is formerly conscription, which is the draft, which is already the law for men 18 to 26, which is just the beginning of the draft, by the way, because after the 18 to 26 year olds die off, they actually call the 27-year-olds 28, maybe up to like 32. That's how that game
I'm
goes.
50 and worried about getting recalled, dude.
But Chip Roy, I gotta love Chip Roy. Chip Roy says you can go straight to hell with that over my dead body. So I don't think he'll be signing this.
Over my dead body. Yeah, we can make that happen.
What do you guys
That's
think
called
about
war.
drafting chicks?
Hillary Clinton's ears just
Absolutely.
perked up.
You want equal rights. You want equality? Here you go. Welcome
Yeah.
to war, baby.
So you're pro draft women, Samantha?
Oh,
I had to
geez.
register for the draft when I was at my 18th birthday. Literally, my parents took me over to the post office and we filled out the form right then and there. Scariest damn thing. The reason
You
why I
have
joined the
to.
military is like, oh, I don't want to get drafted. Welcome to equality.
When I was equality. When I was just kind of mulling over this topic, first of all, no, women should not be required to register to draft. But second of all, I mean, kind of where I went with this is for the longest time we have been telling people, all of these ideologies, all of these things that the government has forced us to do, all of the hand in everything. We've been continuing to warn people that eventually you are going to be forced to do something that goes against what you want, that you are going to be forced to do something
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense to you, and you are not going to be able to say no. I mean, we have this, feminism and these arguments about equality, and these things are so heavily ingrained in people that now it's like, okay, well, you wanted equality, so this is what that looks like. It doesn't just mean, not being confined to the kitchen and making a sandwich for your husband. There are actual, like, real life, very dire consequences to these things. And did you think that they were just going to stop at, getting more women into the workforce? Did you think that that was the end game? And so, how do they backtrack on this idea of equality? How do they suddenly just they're all like, never mind, I want to be a trad wife,
I'll
like
make a
it's
sandwich.
yeah,
Like,
well, I'll make all the sandwiches. You can't do that. And it's same with gender ideology. It's like suddenly y'all know what a woman is. Suddenly there is a difference between men and women. Suddenly men are physically stronger and more capable of these things. And it's like, but these things you guys have been fighting so heavily for, and you're convinced that this is the way it's supposed to be. How do you backtrack? Now you are in a position where, and of course this isn't going to be the end game either, but now you are in a position where you can't say no. You can't take steps backwards. And this is all because of you guys and your stupidity.
I love how the older liberal feminists are like, yeah, draft those. I almost said a bad word. Draft those girls. And the younger ones are like,
Right.
yeah, barefoot and pregnant doesn't seem so bad now, suddenly.
Right.
Yeah, all of a sudden your opinion changes when you're on the other end of the gun.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people say it, feminism popped up at the most convenient time in human history when there was air conditioning and electricity, indoor plumbing, heat, refrigerators, and no-fault divorce and child support and alimony. That's when feminism becomes a thing all of a sudden. It's an incredible thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like mean-spirited about this kind of stuff. I mean, it's when I joined the Navy back in the 1800s, 1993. But we were just starting to integrate women onto ships in the Navy. And even back then, we're like, dude, if things go down, there are certain people I'm going to turn to watch my back. And the majority of them aren't going to be the girls. The girls are going to go hide.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
And that's it.
I'm trying to get these. I'm trying to pull up your next story, Samantha, but there are like these boobs at the top of the story for whatever reason.
I had
like
nothing to do with that.
I know it's the top stories off to the right on Daily Mail. I just keep refreshing the page and they just keep moving around.
I
All right,
hate that.
we're just gonna zoom in. There we go. Don't scroll right.
Making it worse.
No, we're zooming into the appropriate. Just don't scroll to the right. All right. So, speaking of hard realities, is there anything we can't blame on racism? Like
No.
anything at all?
No. So I don't know if you want me. Do you want me to kind of introduce
Please.
this story? Okay. So this one I heard Sarah Gonzalez talking about a couple of days ago, and all I could think in my brain was what they did to Trump. We've been telling people what they do to Trump is what they are going to do to us. So I had seen this story a while ago, didn't really think much of it. Someone just like accusing somebody of racism. Like, what else is new? But I found this story very interesting. So this is a high school kid. He's 16 years old. I believe it's in North Carolina. I could be wrong. So
Yeah.
he was doing a school assignment, and on the assignment somewhere it had the word alien on it. And so he went to his teacher to clarify, are you talking about like little green men on Mars, or are you talking about illegal aliens? And because he said illegal aliens, he was suspended for 3 days for allegedly
Did the
using
teacher
some
faint?
kind of probably. So just dropped right there. Apparently there was a Hispanic kid sitting there that made some comment about, kicking this kid's ass after. And all of these teachers were like, look, he offended this student. And it, turns out that this kid was
The student who threatened bodily harm was offended.
Right?
Yeah.
The bully's
But-
being protected here.
Apparently this kid,
Awesome.
the Hispanic kid was kidding. Like he was just making a joke. But of course,
But catch
the
me
liberal-
outside.
the liberal activist teacher, yeah, the liberal activist teacher doesn't have a sense of humor, as we know. So there's no jokes in liberalism. So that was bad enough. They suspended this kid. They basically said that this was the same as using the N-word
Yeah.
towards Black people. So that was bad enough. Then the school board, members of the school board took it further And they released, so apparently this kid's mom has a criminal record from almost 15 years ago. And she had a drug habit. I think it had something to do with prescription pain pills, something that she cleared up. She got over, moved on from her addiction. She is now like a addiction advocate. So someone that is, using her life experiences to better others. But the school board got a hold of her criminal record, started sharing it with the community. One of the board members sent her criminal record to a senator, I believe. That another school board member started sending around all of these text messages saying that this kid had been kicked out of multiple schools for racism, that this was just an ongoing problem with him, and sending this mom's criminal record to everybody as well. So
Wow.
it just completely blew up. So I did share this clip of the mom at the, addressing the school board, talking about all of these text messages that were shared. You can play like a minute if you want to. I just wanted to share it because it wasn't in the article. This was just dropped probably a couple of weeks ago. But the whole thing just, again, made me think of Trump. When you have all of these people that have been indoctrinated by these left-wing institutions, they don't have an education. They are indoctrinated to be political activists. There are words that they will hear and react this way for no reason other than they know that this is a word they need to react to, and this is how I need to react to it. It has been programmed into them. This is political. There was no crime committed, but it wasn't enough just that this kid said something offensive. Now they're going to ruin this entire person's life. They're going to take down their family. This is going to be on this kid's record forever. This is going to impact his ability to get into college. Like, it is so unbelievable to me. And this is a school board. These are people that are supposed to be protecting kids, that are we're supposed to be able to trust.
If he put on a dress and assaulted a woman, they'd protect him. They'd protect him
in the girls' room.
Yeah.
And then it would be fine. Yeah. And I mean, if
they'd move him to another school so he could do it again, like they did in Loudoun.
Yeah, and if today he were to say, "Hey, I'm transgender. I now identify as a girl," they'd probably drop the whole thing. So,
can I just say, I was just my provisions that I may or may not have. I was just going through some of that gear and putting it back in, and in it you'll find things like masks, you'll find blackout gear, but you'll also find rainbow flags, and I've got some pan shirts, the yellow
camouflage.
Yeah, like camouflage. If it goes down, like the woke stuff that you hate the most, guys, if it goes down, you're gonna want to have some of that stuff to be able to move about the cabin. If there's bread lines and things like that, I'm not wearing a MAGA hat out. I'll tell you that right now. So, and it's so funny because every once in a while I have a guest over, or if they're in my actual office and they see something like that, they're like, "What?" But I've got some weird stuff for Joe Mobley to have, and you should.
That's a really good idea, actually, dude.
No, I'm telling you, dude. Like, yeah, especially. I mean, I've got it for my whole 7-person family because we've got crap to put on the vehicles. If things go real bad and you need to egress,
the Rainbow Warriors are allowed to leave.
Yeah, the travel is going to be heavily restricted, and they're not going to let freaking Ron Swanson with all the guns and stuff. I'm not going to be waving my Trump 2020 flag. So, anyway, there's your security tip, guys. Ding, for free.
Oh my God, this show is so dark.
What are you talking about? We started talking about Jesus, man. He's the light.
I know. We're all
the light of the world. Do you want to watch some of the video, or do you? I know you got one other interesting story.
No, it's okay. I threw it in there because, like I said, it wasn't in the news article that I gave you, and so this was just a development that I hadn't seen included in other articles. I just saw an interview between the attorney that was handling this case, because they are suing the school board over this, thankfully.
Good.
But I hadn't seen this part of it reported, so it's fine. I pretty much
I'll
covered it. It's
share
just
I'll
insane.
share a little snippet of the video just as a shout out to Margot, who is a must follow X account. If you're on TikTok, follow her on TikTok. She specifically posts North Carolina based content. But I mean, essentially, she's a more legitimate journalist than Joy Behar or freaking Whoopi Goldberg or any of these leftist lunatics. She does a really good job. So we'll watch just a snippet.
I am cognizant that statements made by me outside of meetings as an individual may have serious detrimental effects, and thus I pledge my caution in such utterances. I will refrain from investigating to resolve a complaint personally, avoid being placed in a position of conflict of interest, and take no private action that will compromise this board. This is the oath sworn by Ashley Carroll and Chairman Beck.
I love that's what this is like a 4-minute talk. I listened to maybe 3 minutes of it and went back to the beginning, but I love that part of the talk. And I do something similar when I speak to government bodies, but use their words against them. The stuff in their bylaws, the stuff in their oaths, the stuff in their job descriptions and their statutes.
Oh, that's, I was like, and this is totally just random, but that's actually something I was thinking about the other day. When people make like comments to me or, trolls or whatever, respond to things that I post on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and they pretend they disagree with me, even though they don't really know what I'm talking about because they don't know anything. I always respond to people as if they agree with me. So
I give them a thumbs up and say, thanks for the engagement. And then they'll
Exactly.
respond back, it's not engagement, it's bad. And I go, thanks for the engagement.
But I mean, like, let's say I post something about like a drag queen story hour or whatever, and they'll say, there's predators in church or whatever, something, that's an argument they like to bring up. And I'm like, thank you so much for agreeing that we need to address the issue of predators like against children. Like, let's join this fight together. So, I kind of put them in this corner, like, okay, so you're bringing up something that is concerning to you, so we agree on this. And then they're like, no, that's not what I meant. So I just thought it was funny.
The beautiful thing about people who gaslight is you can just literally take their gaslit BS and just turn it around and give it right back to them. And then they never have an answer for it. That's the beautiful thing. They never have any type of, they don't think anything out. They're just repeating what somebody else told them, most likely CNN or MSNBC. I heard this on TV, and now it's my rhetoric, and I'm smart for saying this. No, you're an unquestioning fool.
Yeah, well, and that's
Sorry.
been the psychological experiment of all of this, because you hear, the messages from the White House or from the media, and they all repeat the same words. I mean, this week it's been cheap fakes about Biden falling over. And so now they're all like, cheap fakes. Yes, cheap fakes. And it's like, I just can't.
I'm waiting for Trump to be like, we've got the best fakes, no cheap fakes, the best fake, glorious fakes.
Exactly. So
We just crossed over 100 live viewers on X, so that's great.
Up.
Here's how we can celebrate.
Thanks, guys.
You guys can become members on the JoeMobleyShow.com/join. That's how we celebrate this baby.
Hey, are you still handing out free swag if you join on Locals?
Yeah,
Coffee cup or
always.
something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just on the screen.
I don't
Did
know
you see
about it, dude.
It was just on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a
Yes.
delay. I'm sorry.
If you join, you get
There
a
we
mug
go.
and a shirt. Casey's doing his job. We're wearing the swag now.
Sorry. I didn't get the memo or the shirt.
Did you not get a shirt? Did you
No.
get your code?
I don't know.
Okay, I sent it to you before. I will send it to you again. It's for you and Yabu to get some merch. It's like $100 code thing. I'll send it to you again. I would send it to you right now, but I feel like I'd accidentally share it on the internet. And that would cost me a lot of money. So, all right. We're gonna end the public facing portion of the show. You gotta get the local show tonight. It's 30 minutes. It's really short, but it's gonna be freaking lit because one, we're talking about conspiracy that I probably can't put on Sam's YouTube channel because I don't want you getting dinged. But anyway.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm about to post a video about Biden and his cheap fix, so I imagine my channel will be completely deleted by tomorrow. So,
well,
You're eventually
while
gonna end up with us.
guys, while you can, go subscribe to Outspoken Samantha on YouTube, and then immediately after, subscribe on Rumble. The links are below.
exactly. I really think my channel is about to be just wiped off the YouTube platform.
So this
Be careful who
is
you hang out with, huh?
this is a show that my wife and I watched the first season of, and after the first 12 minutes of the first episode, I said I hate the show. We did not continue watching, and Samantha has chosen to bless us all with a perfect reason why we stopped watching the show. Let's take a listen.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I had Cephas answer some questions from a Harvard test known as unrest. It is designed to measure someone's level of social resistance.
Social resistance.
When people like us oppose the values and policies of the dominant culture.
That's right.
And what does that have to do
Your
with
son, he feels threatened on a daily basis. Like everything he's earned can just be taken away. He's disenfranchised. But because his life is seemingly free from all this, because he can't name it, he's internalizing it.
Name what?
Racism.
Oh, there it
I
is.
think your son's
Drink.
tumor was caused by racism.
Oh, wait. We didn't hear the best part.
Caused by racism. I think your son's tumor was caused by racism.
You guys are welcome.
What?
You and your racist humors.
Look at her face. What? Racism doesn't cause tumors? I can't even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, just when you thought, oh, it's June, we're only concerned with LGBTQ AI elemental P+. Nope. George Floyd crawling out of the grave.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. If you have a racist tumor, does the tumor hate white people or black people? I'm confused.
Well, and the tumor is white, isn't it?
But it's
Right.
killing a white person. I don't know.
So even
I don't
tumors
know.
hate white people.
But I thought more black people were supposed to get cancer. Isn't that what racism
Damn it.
maybe I don't understand because I'm black.
We
I have
need to
no
be
idea.
re-educated, man. We just need re-education.
We should start re-education camps. I don't think anyone's tried that before.
Good idea.
I know. That sounds lovely.
You guys, Samantha does this to us. Like, it's the show's
She's always
not
rolling
super
us back.
planned, but
Slow
she's
down,
always
guys.
like, it's like we started at 8:30. It's like 8:15. She's like, nah, why not? There's an empty slot. She's just like, "Boo."
Yeah. I'm like texting. I'm like, guys, I just dropped something. Your heads are going to explode.
The Taylor Swift thing. I think that was the first one where I was like, what the F is this?
Guys, whenever you think to yourself, things can't get more crazy, they can. Trust me, they can. And they will. They will. Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm just battling racism over here with my chair and the
Right,
carpet's
exactly.
racist.
Oh
I was
my
trying to
God.
roll it, but racism was always, keeping a brother down. So I can't move my chair. Good night.
I mean, this is straight up Chinese propaganda. Like, this is the stuff that they just feed you. And I know, like, sometimes we talk about these silly stories because they seem insane, but these are the things that are truly influencing people. And so when you look at people and you're like, how did you come to that conclusion? Where did that idea come from? That sounds completely nuts. Like, this stuff is going to be completely normal to the next generation. Like, they're gonna grow up in a world where they're truly gonna believe that racism can cause tumors, just like people believe that passing the right legislation can control the weather. I mean, you just got to be aware of it. You've got to know what's going on. And I mean, I wasn't aware, but I did see a clip of this show probably a couple months ago, and then I couldn't find it because I didn't know what the show was called. But that same doctor that's, telling her that the tumor's racist, there's a scene where he's
Stop
like
laughing.
sorry, I'm never gonna be able to say that with a straight face. But there's a scene where he's sitting down with a couple that's struggling because they got engaged and then they found out that they're like brother and sister. And through the whole thing, you're going, oh my gosh, ew, 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 ew. And the man is like, it's fine, it's fine. The woman's like, no, this is gross. I can't look at you the same way. But by the end of it, this psychologist, this doctor convinces them that this is okay. And they're like, I love you. We're going to get married. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
What the fuck?
We stopped
all-
watching. We had to. We kept going through This Is Us, even though it turned into This Is Woke during the George Floyd stuff. But a dirty little secret, guys. I love rom-coms, like romantic comedy and like little squishy. My favorite movie is Moulin Rouge. People, when I tell people that, they're like, no, that's not your favorite movie. It's got to be some killer movie. I'm like, nope, it's Moulin
You're so
Rouge.
sensitive.
I've got all of Nicholas Sparks's books that were done in movie. I've got all of those movies. I bought them, not my wife. And also, I have Nicholas Sparks's books. They're out of frame here because, I got an image to uphold. But yeah, those are some of my, that's my guilty pleasure. But to go along with that for
I bet
shows.
you got a copy of 50 Shades of Grey too, don't you?
I do not. I don't read trash. But to go along with that, Grey's Anatomy. I used to watch Grey's Anatomy, and morally, all of entertainment is corrupt. So if you get past that hurdle, but it just got so woke, and the stuff with Blovid, and then the racism stuff, like it just. Oh my gosh, it got so bad. They're like, we can't talk about real issues like the scourge of human trafficking and all of these women and children, getting forced into sex slavery. But let's pretend that racism's the thing. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pretend that everyone's gonna die from freaking the Wuhan coronavirus that came from Wuhan, China, that we now know was gain of function research funded by one freaking Saint
I was just
Fauci.
watching the Jon Stewart clip today where
I love that.
Uncle Barry's like,
That is the
"You mean
greatest.
an outbreak of chocolate goodness broke out in Hershey, Pennsylvania? Where did it come from?"
Well, I don't know. That is the greatest. That was one of my like first popular videos. Oh,
I gotta tell you, dude. I mean,
Rumble, get it together. This interface on the computer is not great. Sorry, go ahead.
Jon Stewart is pretty much the only liberal that I have any respect for at this point in
Really?
entertainment. Well, Bill Maher, I'm sorry, and I know Dave Rubin. He actually, I brought it up with Dave, and Dave's like, in my opinion, Bill Maher actually is not blowing smoke. He actually believes what he says. Cuomo, different story. But what are we doing here?
This was obviously a different era of the Joe Mobley show. Here we go.
The sunglasses. There he is.
You can keep talking. I just want to.
No, it was just. I want to watch the clip.
This guy.
I think
Nice shirt,
we
by the
owe
way.
a great
Oh, I got
debt
the
of
wrong one.
gratitude to science. Science has, in many ways, helped ease the suffering of this pandemic, which was more than likely caused by science. So, and that's kind of.
Hold on one second.
No. Now, listen.
It's coffee. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you.
I'm
So
all
what
for
do you?
spit takes,
But
but-
what do you mean by that? Do you mean like
Well, so
this was
here's
crap?
This is so weird. It's like vintage Joe Mobley show.
There's a chance that this was created in a lab. There's an investigation.
A chance.
Oh,
I'm- so-
oh
my God.
There's a chance.
There's a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan Novel Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask the scientists,
but
they're
that's not
"How did this-"
evidence.
So wait a minute.
What a
Look at
coincidence.
The Wuhan Respiratory Coronavirus Lab.
I'm wearing the
How
same
did this
shirt.
happen? And they're like, Pangolin kissed the turtle. And you're like, no, the name of your lab.
I just responded exactly the same way I did in the first one. This is the funniest clip. Oh, man.
The name of the disease.
Kissed a turtle. What the crap? This was so good.
Well, Colbert was sitting there trying to cut him off. He was trying to stop him from, going on with his rant. But the bottom line is, I mean, if Democrats want me to respect them again, they need to be more like Jon Stewart. Period.
Well,
They
funny
don't-
story.
I'm not falling for Cuomo.
They don't care.
Fun fact to end the show, I've got these towels here because I almost had to fire myself from the show because 10 minutes before we went on, I spilled this soda essentially on my computer.
Oh no.
Luckily, my computer is on a stand, and that's a rule. I've had it in my Army office. I always, if I have liquids on my desk, no important electronics on the desktop. I've just got keyboards and mice on the actual desktop. My phone is lifted, my phone is elevated, the monitors, the computer's elevated, and it saved it because the computer stand that it's on, all underneath it was just soda. So
A month ago, I dumped a beer on this keyboard.
Dude.
It kind of still works, but that's why I had to upgrade to the new one. So
Is that MX
most
keys?
of the typos I do aren't typos.
I think we got the same keyboard, man. All right, well,
Really? With the Logi?
yeah, yep.
Nice.
Da, 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 da. It's such a good keyboard. I also
lights up,
have
too.
a Macally, whatever this is. I also have I've got computer crap all over. For a non-techie, a non-IT guy, I got way too much tech crap in here.
I can see Sam's eyes rolling in the back of her head right now.
Well,
Fucking nerd.
It's all
and
good.
for good reason. We almost made it to 150 on X. We're at 147. Invite your 3 friends while we're going out. Guys, if you made it this far, you're a fan, so make sure that you're subscribed. If you really want to just piss off big tech and the left, then also subscribe on podcast, which is still, through reasons that I'll never understand, my biggest, most influential platform is podcast. I don't know why. Make sure that you're subscribed to Outspoken Samantha's channel on all of the things. Her links are below. You can just touch it, except for on X, because X still does not allow you to pre-stage a show. But I did look on X, and we were live show number 9, guys. We got Rudy Giuliani. We've got Alex Stein, Primetime 99, always on the grind. And we're just ahead of Elsa Kurt. Hi, Elsa. Elsa's not watching because she's doing her show. But, we need to have... Elsa's been on the show. We need to have her back on. She's hilarious.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, Elsa Kurt. Let's get you on. You can do more Kamala Harris impressions. Anyway, that's all I got. I almost called you Amanda. I almost basic white girled you. I'm sorry. Samantha.
All good. It's all good.
Any last
At least it
words?
wasn't Karen.
Any last words? Well, these might be some of my last words on YouTube. Like I said, I'm about to drop a video about Biden and his cheap fakes. So I'm convinced this is going to be the end of my channel on YouTube. So go and subscribe there. Go and subscribe on Rumble because I post everything on YouTube and Rumble at the same time. But I'm just saying, these might be my last words on this platform. So it's fine.
Nice. Casey Gates.
Hey, I'm always about the love. You guys know it. I mean, I'm all about the show. Check out Joe Mobley. What is it? The Joe Mobley Show.com. Correct.
Yep.
That's right. I mean, and if you want to check me out, that's cool. You can check me out at clubcaseygates.locals.com. But I'm all
link
about
is
just
below.
supporting everybody else. So,
But the
That's
link
right.
is still below. Guys, check out the member only
Good times.
show. It's free. We're gonna be talking about super exclusive over there. So exclusive, I haven't even talked to Casey and Samantha about this, but that's okay.
Well, I saw the notes. I'm jealous I won't be in on that conversation, but you guys have fun.
We'll talk in the text group. So it's not fun when we start having meetings.
It's true.
All right, guys, that's all we got. Jesus saves. Everything else is a sham. Goodbye.